Hey everyone, welcome to this week's tutorial, and today I'm going to show you guys very basic 3D modeling tips. We won't be doing some crazy modeling. I modeled this car all based on the fundamentals of 3D modeling. So today I'm going to show you guys a few tips on 3D modeling, and hope it helps you guys who are starting out in 3D modeling to get comfortable with some of the good practices in 3D modeling. So if we are able to get all these fundamentals of 3D modeling right, we will be able to achieve complex forms such as this. So this is just to show you guys the importance of 3D modeling fundamentals, and hope this tutorial will help you guys out who are getting started in 3D modeling. So yeah, let's get started into the fundamentals of 3D modeling. Let's go! Let's start with a sphere. I'm going to share with you guys 3 tips. One is to work with symmetry. The other one is to work with multiples of a number. When it comes to choosing the number of divisions on your geometry, try to work with multiples of a same number. And the last one is to split your edges instead of using the bevel. I'll show you guys what I mean. So let's say in this sphere, the original subdivision levels are 20, and let's bring them down to a weird number of 7, and we can see a problem here, because alright, the first tip is to work in symmetry, right? You guys can see that there's not much of a symmetry here. In Maya, the preferred front axis is the z-axis, so we can see whenever we want to model our character, for example this is the character's head, we want to be able to mirror from the front view, which is this is the front view. There isn't a center axis, so this is not a good subdivision level to choose, right? So for example, I want to pull a hand or some geometry out of here. There isn't an exact opposite that I can replicate here. So this working on the multiple of 7 is not a good idea. So let's choose something like 6 maybe. And so let's say from the front view it's actually symmetrical. So yeah, we can use 6, but I think for the most part, yeah. So if you can see here, we can extrude here, it's perfectly fine. From the side view, it's all symmetrical. And so if we want to work on only half the model, we still have to split this line here. So maybe we will have to get a split here and a split here, and then continue to split these lines. And then the benefit of this is that we can delete half of the model and do a duplicate special with an instance of a scale of -1 for the x-axis, and then we'll have a symmetrical model. And because it's instanced, the changes that we make on one side will reflect on the other side. So it's good to work with symmetry, just that when we want to merge these two geometries back together again, we will have to merge it, and then we will combine all the vertices in the center, and we will still have to delete this edge over here. So it's a bit of troublesome to work with the multiple of 6, at least that's what I think. So I think the best number to work at is 8. You see, we have symmetry in both the x-axis and the z-axis. So in the case that we were to without having to split any edges, I can already achieve what I want to do. Without having to split any edges, I'm already able to delete half the model instantly. So edit, duplicate special, and the changes will reflect accordingly, like that. So yeah, so working in multiples of 8, it's good. Alright, since we're on this topic, let me also show you guys how to mirror this geometry over. I think there are some tools in Maya that helps you to mirror, but I think the best way is to make a duplicate of it. Make sure the center is on the center axis on the YZ plane, and then on the scale x value we can hit -1 and then we'll flip it over. So try to, we should avoid using the duplicate special with the instance, because instance gives it a live copy, so-called live copy, so that we are able to see this live update. If we combine these two objects, there will be some kind of conflict that goes on with Maya. At least that's what I've experienced. So we want to make a copy on the -x value without instance. So if we make a copy of that, then we can select both objects, shift right click, and then we can go to combine. So these two objects are combined together, but they are all in one shell. If we look at the outliner, it's sorry, let me just delete history. So it's all in one shell, but it's still two separate elements in here. Okay, so we need to combine these vertices here. We can go one by one to select say these two vertices and shift right click and merge vertices, or merge to center, but because they are on exactly the same spot, so we won't see their movement. And yeah, we can see that this is combined, this is not. So to do it for the entire edge here, we can go to the front view, go to a wireframe mode to make sure that we don't select other vertices, draw a rectangular selection box, and shift right click and choose merge vertices. What this does is it merges all the vertices based on its distance, and now I've distance set to 0.001. So it's merged. We can check here by moving this away, it's entirely merged. So I'm sure you guys have heard of that it's a good practice to not have triangles. So to avoid triangles in a this is another benefit of working with a multiple of 8. To avoid trouble of having to deal with triangles, we can use the multiple of 8, and we can quickly select these alternate edges here around this ring. I did it from the top view, drawing a rectangular box, selection box over all the edges, so that I select both the top and the bottom and hit delete. As you can see, we eliminated all the triangle faces. So yeah. So one last thing that I want to show you guys is split edge splitting tool instead of the bevel tool. Let me show you guys why. So let me just make a simple object here. Okay, so we have our model here. Let's say we want to create a very tight edge here. There are two ways of doing it, and I'm going to show you guys why one way is better than the other. So let's create a duplicate of this object. And so I'll hit 3 for a smooth preview. So let's say we want to tighten this edge here. Okay, so one way is to double click on this edge, and it will select the entire edge loop. Shift right click and go to bevel, and we can adjust the bevel settings, bevel offset here to something very tight. It gives us a very sharp edge. And we can do the same here. We can achieve the similar result here by going to this edge and control right click, edge ring and split. It will add a edge loop here, and then we can adjust the weight of it to go down to here, 0.01, and it will give us a very similar result. So since they both produce very similar results, in fact they almost look identical here, so why do we use one over the other? It's simply because sometimes we want to make changes, right? For example, we don't want this to be as tight. We don't want this edge to be as tight as what we have now. We want some changes. So we will select this edge and we try to move it up, right, or something like that, or we try to delete it. But what happens is this isn't on a straight line anymore. if we look carefully at what Maya has done when we do a bevel, this edge used to be somewhere here, but it has smoothed it out such that it goes this way. Yeah, but so if we want to remove the edge, this edge used to be, if you can see my cursor, it used to be here, but when we apply the bevel, it kind of averages out the distance and it splits it up. So when we remove this edge, from this point to this point, it's not on the same x-axis anymore. If yeah, it should be more onto the left. It's very minor, but it's a good practice when we are doing modeling. In case we want to make some changes and go back and remove some edge, we want to make sure that it's that it will be the same shape as before we tighten the edge. So this is the better way, because if we can see from the front view here, this is just an edge split on the vertical edge. So if we go and remove this, it's entirely undoable. So if we split it again, we can move it down again, and it's perfectly fine. We can also do the same thing on this edge. You see, we can always remove these two edge loops, these two newly introduced edge loops, and we are back to the original shape in case we want it smooth again. But for this, we will get some differences because it's already off center. So let me just show you what bevel does. It's clearer on this side view. So let me just revert this to the original model and bring it to the side. So this is what bevel does. We select the edge loop, shift right click and bevel edge. What it does is from this edge it starts to spread out. So if we were to do a crease of, let's say, this big, and then we achieve this result, but we want to change the smoothness of it. There's no way to go back, you know. We cannot delete this because it gives us this shape. Unlike this approach, where we just split here, decide how tight we want it to be, and you can see it's similar result, but this one is reversible. Yeah, but sometimes we want to do this. Let's say if the form is really like this, and this is of course a bad example, but if the form is really like this, then we can always use a bevel. But if it's just a crease, then we want to use this approach instead. Alright, I hope that made sense, and thank you guys for watching this week's tutorial. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comments below, and I'll be sure to read them and help you guys out with those starting out with your 3D package. Oh, by the way, this principle applies to any 3D package, so don't worry if you're using Max or Maya. It's the same for all kinds of polygonal modeling. I plan to do a series of 3D modeling tutorials, hopefully maybe one of a car, and I'll just record it real time, and you guys can see the approach I use for all this car modeling stuff. So yeah, hope this tutorial has helped you guys out, and I'll see you next week. Bye!